started this company because I saw a really uncomfortable and growing disparity between what dentistry is supposed to be offering dentists and what it was actually offering dentists. You see more and more dentists fleeing traditional private practice, not because they wanted to, but because there were so many market pressures pointing them in that direction. Insurance reimbursements stagnating or going down, quality of life going down, stress levels going up, having to do so many different procedures just to make ends meet. And I felt like dentistry at its best should be doing more for its people. You see what other healthcare verticals are experiencing, like pharmacy with consolidation, and I just don't want dentistry to go that way. And so our vision is for dentists to do a deeper level of care per patient rather than skimming the surface and having to be on roller skates and see 100 patients a day just to provide a living for themselves and their family. So at SPG, we say, hey, we're going to slow down and we're going to do the procedures that others can't to provide value and for patients in ways that isn't possible elsewhere. And so by unlocking that potential for general dentists, that's our value proposition, because we've built the platform for dentists to plug into to be able to derive more value from their careers than they really can anywhere else. The biggest part of it, if we go chronologically, is we think about onboarding as the on-ramp. And we've built SPGU, which is our internal proprietary training platform that is comprised by online video content that shows recorded surgeries, that has how-to manuals, that gets people aligned diagnostically and in terms of fulfilling treatment before they even set foot in an SPG practice. And then there's also the in-person training component, where we have courses twice a year where there's hands-on opportunities to mess with our implant systems, to get comfortable with our techniques. And then there's also over-the-shoulder training once their practice is open. So there's multiple levels of calibration, because our dentists all come in with a requisite level of experience, but there's still some seasoning that has to happen to get them comfortable with the SPG way, not just of doing the dentistry, but also of interacting with their teams, of being good leaders in their practices. What we're talking about today at our retreat is how to play nicely in the sandbox with your teams and how to elevate your own performance via your team's performance, which is more of an art than a science, frankly. But we feel like with our platform and our support structure of not just the actual rudiments of here's what you need to learn and need to do, but also just the people that are there to helicopter in as needed, to be the shoulder to cry on or the motivator to get these doctors to the next level. I feel like we're doing our jobs if these doctors are learning skills and gaining aptitudes that would be impossible to gain elsewhere. It's ironic because the most successful doctors are the most humble. They're the most coachable. They're the most adaptable. The ones that come in having it all figured out are the ones that fail to see the potential of doing things the SPG way. And that's the dichotomy is the SPG way is ever evolving. It's not static. It's definitely moldable based upon what we now know. And so these doctors that say, hey, as new information comes out, we're going to modify our approach based upon these best practices, because every single month in a company like ours, we're still young, we're still blazing the trail, we're still building our model, because no one else does what we do at the scale that we do it. So we're truly on the bleeding edge of innovation as far as how best to talk to people, how best to schedule appointments, how best to fulfill the treatment. And so the best doctors are the most humble and the most coachable and the most hungry. I think the core driver for us delivering a better service to our patients is to first know that we're customizing the product, which is the experience. Because yes, people can get teeth anywhere. That's the God's honest truth about it, is that teeth are teeth. But it's not just the teeth that we're providing, it's the experience of having received the teeth, it's the experience of being educated, of having your needs met and having your doubts met with education and reinforcement of you're in the right place. And I think that a lot of patients just don't feel heard. And so the first step is coming in with curiosity. If you lead with curiosity and you understand why are our patients here, because we don't treat the type of patient that regularly receives preventative care every 6 months. We are treating the people that are petrified of coming to the dentist. We are treating the people that were made to feel lesser than for their teeth over the last 20 or 30 years. So we're dealing with people with these deep-seated psychological barriers that they finally have surmounted. And so now that they're in our chair, we owe it to them to educate them about their situation, give them our best recommendation, and compassionately lead them towards having their life changed. We're in the amazing position to be able to take people that had a very negative view of dentistry and say, hey, there's a different way. The technology's come a long way, the approaches have come a long way, we've evolved, and we're able to curate your care every step of the way so that you get the best result that's customized to your needs. I think the biggest point of pride is to see what I would call the SPG operating system between the ears of so many people, of people knowing this is on track, this is off track, this is within our culture, this is not within our culture. Because you've heard me say a million times that culture is a set of actions, not just a set of beliefs. So for people to be calibrated according to what works for us and what doesn't, what's in keeping with the SPG way and what's not, I think that is the most gratifying thing to me, because I know that that's the input that yields the outputs that everyone wants. So for me, the output that I care about is doctors getting all the value out of their careers that they want. And for them, the output is rendering the patient care that they can only do at SPG at the scale that we provide it, with the patients that we're able to source, that create the matchmaking opportunity between patient, doctor, and then lives being transformed. So seeing that happen at scale, across geographies, across time zones, is really cool. And then this weekend being the culmination of that, where we have doctors from Spokane, Washington to Portland, Maine, all under one roof, all sharing best practices, all connecting over our shared imperative to democratize the fixed arch, to make dentistry's best solution for people without teeth or with dilapidated dentitions. We're able to make that the standard. No longer do patients have to be resigned to a traditional denture if they're a candidate for a better option. And at SPG, we hang our hats on providing that better option. In the next 5 years, we're going to be a top 10 DSO in the country, because if you run the numbers, any DSO that gets to 300 plus locations is in the top 10 by most any measure. And I feel like with our opportunity to capture more market share, the number of doctors that are beating down our doors to work with us every day, and the amount of need that's quantifiable across not just the lower 48, but also just Alaska, Hawaii too. There's so many people that need what we provide. The number of people that are without teeth or that are veering towards being without teeth is staggering. We have an aging population. We have this disparity between the haves and the have-nots, where there's so many people that have deferred care for decades, and then now that they have the means or the wherewithal or the motivation to seek out transformational dental care, sometimes all that can be done is to take out the remaining teeth and start anew with dental implants. And so even though we don't like those demographic shifts and we hate that people have deferred care for so long, the best time to have planted a tree would have been 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. And so we'll plant that tree for those patients and give them their lives back. Whew. So when I think about our community, I think about kind of like a bullseye, where you have the internal SPG community. What do we stand for? And what we stand for is really to reclaim dentistry and bring it back to its fundamentals. Dentistry was meant to be dentist, team, patient, without any intermediary, with no dental insurance dictating anything, with no, the worst thing ever is when dentists have to explain themselves to a dental insurance company. That crawls all over me. And so what we stand for is dentist, team, patient, in a room together, making magic happen, where you have the servant leader, you have the recipient of the service, and every party in the transaction is happy. And that to me is what we stand for, is the purity, the essence of dentistry reclaimed in a world where things have gotten so complex. Dentistry doesn't have to be complex. So the simplification of patient receiving care is what we stand for. But then in the broader sphere of dentistry, I think we stand for standing firm amidst all of the storm of market pressures that are causing prices to go down, reimbursements to go down, quality of life for the practitioners going down. It doesn't have to be that way. We see dentistry as a growing pie. Dentistry grows on average somewhere between 5 and 6% every year, and yet you see individual dentists and you see companies shrinking in their market share every year. So dentistry is growing, the need is growing, the demand is growing, but yet you see a lot of people out there claiming that the patient demand isn't there or that our revenues are shrinking. And so there are people out there like us that have figured out, hey, if we cut to the core of what patients want, we're always going to grow. And you don't have any needless complexity, you don't have any needless friction. So for us, it's let's simplify what it takes for dentists to have the best careers that they could possibly imagine. And we do that by simplifying what the patient journey looks like. Because if we add too much needless complexity, people look for other ways to spend their money or their time, they get distracted, and so we owe it to all of our constituents. So for me, that's the doctors, and for the doctors, that's their patients. How do we simplify? How do we ruthlessly eliminate complexity or fear or any distractions to where we just render the service?